Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, and let me say something. I would almost say that you had to have something to be able to buy. I mean, because I don't know. Maybe Young Teeth can do that. He was 33. I don't know. I know at 54.
Young Teeth do that, Rick over there?
The young Rick. We got another Rick over here, much younger than I am, much younger. Rick, just nod your head. Do you think that they can do that? Yes or no? I can't see you, but what is he saying?
No.
I mean, that's pretty tough. So, Miss Renee, talk to me. Do you think that he was justified? Now, we're going to talk on the legal sense, and
No. Right. You don't even have to finish.
She said no. I mean, but he was going to see his son. He didn't want to miss the birthday party.
And?
He wanted to go see his son at the birthday party. I'm looking at it this way, devil's advocate. I'm looking at it this way. He really cared so much about being with his son. And he must have asked the police officer, man, can you pull me over there? Can you drop me off? Can I at least say something to the son? And the police officer just said no. And so he has this strong commitment to his child, and he wanted to be with his child on his birthday. The child, I don't know if they say the child's age or anything like that, but I want to look on the upside of this and say I commend him for wanting to be with his son. Okay, I really do.
Okay, Les Rogers.
Yeah, I commend him for having the tenacity to chew through a seatbelt. I commend him for thinking that he had the capability of chilling. So y'all talking about he on the controlled substance. He still had the fortitude to sit there and think about chewing through a seatbelt. So, I mean, I commend him on that. The problem that I have with him, two things. You got controlled substance with you. You knew it was your son's birthday. What was you going to do? Take it over there to him? Happy birthday? What was you going to do? And now you get caught. You know they're not going to let you go. And so now you're going to do something that's even more of a crime and try to bite through the seatbelt. Now, I'm thankful that he just bit through the seatbelt and not try to do anything else. But it was kind of crazy to me when I saw this, that he would be able to have the ability to bite through the belt. So, Pat, you don't even want to seem like you helped me over there because the ladies ain't talking to me. So talk to me about that.
You're right, because I would never even think that I could bite through. So I wouldn't even try to bite through. So it also makes you wonder what other amazing dental feats he's done for this particular thing. Because
right.
How would he even think I'm going to, because I wouldn't even think I could do it. The seatbelt is made to take hundreds of pounds of pressure in a crash.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? It's made out of canvas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how would I even think that I could bite this thing through? So I'm thinking he's done some amazing feats before. That means he's been high before.
Yeah, there you go. That means he's been high. And somehow, and during the munchie stage, he thought about this. Okay, I'm going to come to you again because I'm not going to let you get off of this. So now give me some kind
topic?
of yeah, same topic. You ain't going nowhere. You act like you're going to get off this subject. We're going to be on it for a little second. Quick question. What would you say now all of a sudden he's going to custody for his child? How does this hurt him?
His addiction is probably going to be a bad thing for his custody child.
Yeah.
Because he was unable to not be high and carry a controlled substance on his son's birthday. So there's an addiction, most likely, and that would be an issue.
Mm-hmm. Renee, you got anything you want to add on there? She looking at me like, yes, no?
Well, I think there's the addiction, and then I think there's a disregard for authority.
Yeah.
That would also come into play. And just personally, I'm not convinced that he did that to attend his son's birthday. I mean, I think conveniently it may have been his son's birthday, but I don't buy that that's why he did it.
And that's a good thing because there's nothing in here that says, that they were able to prove that it was his son's birthday. But one of the things that it definitely proved that a controlled substance will get you a $75,000 bail. So that's one thing it got him for that birthday. And we're joking about it, and I'm going to take it to the serious side. One, controlled substance, you shouldn't have the controlled substance in the first place. And if you wanted to be there for your son's birthday party, then you should have thought out that the process of having controlled substance was something you shouldn't have had anyway. It's not something that you want your child to know that his father wasn't there for, because you know somebody told the child. You know how people are. Y'all look at me like I'm crazy. I'm the preacher, but I'm real. That's why this thing says to know our glory, you got to know our backstory. We talk about things that are taboo to the church that people don't want to talk about. But you know somebody told that child that this has happened. So now you stain the child's relationship between each other, all because you wanted to do something that you know you shouldn't have done in the first place. So brothers out there, if you really want to be that serious father, be committed to being where the father is. Make sure that you can show the example of who a father is at all times, because you're a father if your child is in front of you or not. So the story was talking about was a funny thing about, serious situations, but it was about a father-son relationship. And I say to all fathers, make sure that the only controlled substance you have for anything is the love that you have for your children. Amen. And that concludes the shock factor.
You didn't ask me my opinion.
Oh, well, you want to say something? I don't have to ask you your opinion. You're a host on the show. What's your opinion?
I have to be censored. I just want to say, because that's just so crazy to me. But you always tell me your opinion doesn't mean a thing on the show. So
I don't never remember saying that. That might be true. No. But I mean, I know one thing about Brenda. She will give you her opinion, and it could be like rough.
It's wrong.
Yeah,
but God grant everyone grace. Grant me grace. I grant whatever. That's crazy to me, though. I mean, I'm not saying he's crazy, but any person that gnaws like an animal through a seatbelt and use this child as a lie, which I would now believing that whole scenario was just a lie to get out of it. But you got caught with the substance you probably was selling, and you're going to use that to bite through a seatbelt and escape. You need to be under the cell and get yourself together.
Yeah, well,
that's my opinion.
Well, I can guarantee you one thing for sure. With a $75,000 bond, he's going to have some time to think. That's for sure. Hey, let's go back to the thing here with the subject that we're talking about. And as always, I forget
Child
the subject.
Support.
Yeah.
Will you support me? A child's perspective. I have this question that's been bothering me. Is can a person be sued for falsifying child support?
Do you mean like...
Pat, I've been telling you're the father of this baby for 15 years, and I know you're really not, but I need that money.
Well, you know what? That brings up actually interesting, because there's something called, in Illinois, called a voluntary acknowledgement of paternity. It's paperwork that people sign, usually mom and dad. Most people sign it at the birth of the child at the hospital. And I've had some cases, and most of us who've been doing this a while have had cases where guys sign this paperwork. They're there when the child is born, and lo and behold, that's not their child. And they find this out because somebody says something. I mean, I had a case one time where people in the neighborhood knew that this guy wasn't really
the neighbors knew.
Father. And, mom's family knew. And then one day, apparently the adult said something in front of one of the other little children. And so the little child, who 6 or 7, one day one child was cruel to him and said, "You know that dude that be coming to get you every weekend? Yeah, well, my granny say, that ain't even your daddy." That's how this kid finds out, right? So then he runs to his mother, "Mom, what's going on?" And mom's like, "Okay, sit down. We got to have a talk." And then, now everybody's in court. So what happens if someone, as you say, is basically realized years later that he's not the father, if he signed those papers, it becomes very difficult to undo it, because procedurally you've got to do things like you've got to find who that father is. In the case I was involved with, the biological father actually came forward. So he came forward, did a DNA test, and said, "I want to be in the child's life." And so then the person who had been playing the father, playing that role, was in effect taken out of that role. But it's incredibly difficult. So here's what happens. I tell guys all the time, this is a really messed up part of the law, that if you sign those papers, you got 60 days to rescind them. Well, the truth is, most people, if you're in a relationship with someone and you're getting along, I say, you can't. What do you tell a woman who just had a child for you? You say to her, you know what? Just to be on the safe side, I want a DNA test. Who does that? So
I recommend no.
so that puts people in a difficult position. So what I've told guys in the past is that especially if they haven't signed anything and they've just been informally having a relationship with the mom and the child, and now they're breaking up with the mom, and mom says, I want child support, and they say, I think I'm going to get taken to court. I'll tell them to do this. If you have visitation with the child, especially if it's an infant, go privately, invest some money in a decent DNA test privately. And if it's a child, if it's an infant, if it's a toddler, the toddler is going to have to tell the mother, okay? But if it's an infant, and you know what? If it turns out that it's your child, don't say a word.
Yeah. Hey,
pay the money. And if it's not, because if you accuse someone of that and you don't have a basis, I mean, your relationship with them is going to be really wrecked.
Get that Q-tip ready and swab that.
All right, we about to go to the last stop, baby.
Yes, we are. Before we reel the McCain train in, next week's topic is DV, the 2 deadly letters of abuse. It's going to be an interesting show. And the McCain train is pulling into our last stop, and we want to thank our phenomenal 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 great attorneys, Patrick John, Renee Jackson, and Lisa Copland, for joining us on this ride tonight. It's not been a smooth ride by no means, but it's been a nice ride.
Yeah, but you know what? Child support is never smooth, but it needs to be discussed. Hey, real quick, I want you all to go through, again, just give some information about yourself. We got about a minute and a half. Lisa, talk to me a little bit about you and just tell people where they can find you and stuff.
My telephone number is 312-882-4429. Again, 312-882-4429. My website is CoplandLawGroup.com.
Okay. Mr. Pat.
Oh, my name is Patrick John. I work for the Barclay Law Group. You can Google the Barclay Law Group, and our phone number is 312-553-0123. Miss
D. Renee.
Yes, the law office of D. Renee Jackson, phone number 708-LAW-9383. Website is dreneejacksonlaw.com. And the blog is When Love Turns Legal.
Hey, you'll have all this information on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on our website as well. Hey, I want to thank you all very much, especially for you all, with the shock thing. I know it may have shocked Lisa a little bit too much over there, but you'll get over it, honey. You'll be okay. We got a therapist that's coming next week for you. But, we thank you all for being on the show and giving some very detailed and valuable information for our guests. A lot of times we get, people will contact us after the show that they've had so much information about the show that they really appreciate it. So we thank you all for doing that. We hope you all will come back on the show again. Remember, you cannot go against me. Renee, your retainer money is coming. So I thank you all for being on the McCain train. We're going to be back next week at 7 p.m. talking about DV. What is that again? The 2 words of domestic violence. So we're going to be talking about domestic violence again. Very interesting conversation. We're going to have some great people over there. So last thing on child support is that just remember, it is called what it is, child support. Let's make sure that the number one thing through all the arguments or disagreements that we may have, that the child receives the support that they need. This has been Reverend Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo, author Brenda McKay. We'll see you later on in the Let's Stay Together show. Woo-hoo!